Welcome to Shweta's Talkies Season 1. Let's chat and have some fun.
People, their lives, their struggles and their joys. Faces, their truths and their beauty. Things of value, not price. I'm old school and I'm blunt. I like to explore things. I like to explore people and their emotions, places and their truths.
Join me for Shweta's Talkies.
Today in our studios, Mr. Ajey Maharaj, Group Head, Corpcom, Fortis Healthcare, who started his career from Steel Authority of India. He did communications there, went on to head various verticals in marketing and Corpcom and now PR at Airtel and Tata. Welcome to your studios today. How are you feeling?
Thank you, Shweta. It's good to be here.
We all did well post-COVID, didn't we?
Yep, hopefully things are good. And
I can see things have gone well for you. You're one of the 100 influential game changers in your field. You had the Man of the Year for media.
that's right.
Wow. So I got none of that, though I'm in marketing. So I'm just letting you know. You're in a beneficial position. In our industry, and for this season, we have done people from all verticals. It's a casual take on life in general.
Okay.
It's more about you, your viewpoint of healthcare industry as a professional. Tell me, how are we doing after COVID? How is the industry doing after COVID? Less from a business viewpoint and more in terms of humanitarian viewpoint. What changes did it bring along?
I think life post-COVID has been very different for all, including the doctors or maybe for all the individuals who are there. The basic transformation, the awareness has gone up. Now people are very much concerned and bothered, and they have seen the kind of problems what people have faced during the COVID. I think the major transformation what COVID has shown is the digital transformation. How people have adopted to the digital platforms. Now people, even the clinicians at our hospitals are very, very comfortable using it. This transformation would have taken another 5 to 7 years to happen. So I think digital transformation is very key, which COVID has given to the world.
You would be primarily responsible for the optics, how it works with the industry. People are looking at the readiness of the hospitals. They tend to not understand how much goes to the logistics once you book. Behind it, we tend to kind of go in, itna lamba time lag gaya, ye ho gaya, wo ho gaya. I myself also guilty. Please explain to the people, even with the help of science, what kind of logistics are you battling with on an everyday basis?
Expectations is a key one. People, when they expect they're coming to a large hospital, they expect the outcome to be perfect. So that's a key thing. And also they expect the doctors and all to be giving them more time and to make sure that they're able to diagnose and give them the right kind of prescription. But I think people have to understand that each and every body has a different kind of a body, and the kind of ailment is very different. People think, I don't have any problem, doctors do 75 tests, but you never know. Maybe 1 in or maybe 2 in 10 cases, you realize that this was a problem which had to be looked into. So when they come into a super specialty hospital which takes care of complete body, and when a doctor prescribes, it's for a reason. So people have to understand that in India, people don't buy medical insurance. It's a major problem in India. People will tend to spend money on eating out at a good joint, maybe spend 10,000 for a dinner. But if you ask them to get your insurance done for a medical, they won't spend 10,000 a year. That's a major thing. That's a change what people have to understand, that this is something which is for their benefit when they reach a hospital, a super specialty hospital, where you have different key clinicians are there who are specialists. So they're going to prescribe something to read your body and understand your body, what the ailment actually is. Because today, if I'm having pain in my stomach, if I go to a hospital, maybe Digene can work for me. I don't know. But tomorrow, it turns out it was something else, it was a tumor or something else was happening with some gastrointestinal problem. So that's why doctors have to be sure, because tomorrow the people, somebody, when your ailment is not taken care of, or maybe is not able to diagnose the problem right, then they're going to blame the hospital and doctor. They charge so much money that they can't even diagnose a problem. They can't even prescribe the right test. So that's something very, the thin line between it, but it's a critical one because it's your life.
You have to market a certain level of trust. You have to market care. You have to market post-care. You have to market a lot. How is it different from any other marketing head roles that you've had, or PR head roles you have? In your case, public relationships, you are managing reputation, ORM bit of it, you're managing issues which people tend to now tweet at jerk-off moments, honestly. They're not processing any, the mat, they're tweeting the mat, they're tweeting. What does it look like from your side of the table?
I handle the corporate communications and the PR for the Fortis Healthcare group. But when you look at media, when you talk about the PR, that plays a very critical role, because it's a third-party, unbiased kind of a article somebody's printing for you. As is going to write something good about you, that gives a very major impact. So if you are ailing or if you have any problems, that particular person is going to read about that something good has happened. That really makes a huge impact. So that's the thin line where we have to identify the cases, and we have to see what kind of problems people are facing, because somebody is facing a problem, definitely is going to read through it. In India, if the doctor is good, the people connect, and it becomes like, it's more like they're going to follow the doctor for a long time.
Yes,
For a
that's what
particular
happens.
person.
Yes,
That's what
you
happens.
tend to build that trust and
The trust is very,
stickiness.
very important. The diagnosis is important. If you are able to market, and I won't say market, you have to make sure that what kind of outcome, the clinical outcome, what he's doing, the kind of surgeries they are performing, if it goes to the right audience, and the people who are in need is definitely going to come to you and they're going to get the treatment done.
I think pre-COVID, we were all looking for the best doctor by word of mouth. And then Practocan, I think, changed the game a little bit. Now, even I look at reviews and ratings, and a lot of information out there is consumer or patient generated. And I think that is a big responsibility you have to manage in terms of communication. How does your day look like when you're running the show?
It's tough to talk about a typical day because
There's no 2 days.
Like basic hygiene stuff is like when you go in the morning, you have to see what all the coverage is there, what kind of media stories have come out. So we have to identify who all has to go through. Is something relevant from the management perspective? Some takeovers are happening, or something from the government perspective, from the regulatory perspective. So it has to go to the particular set of audience. And something related to the clinician, it has to go to the clinician's group. Something from the admin part, maybe some policies which are coming, has to go to the hospital. So that bifurcation is done. We have to ensure that whatever relevant information is required for the hospital to function, or maybe something which a policy has come up, that has to be updated, and the hospital and the team has to be aware about it. And after that, some internal comms are there. We have to ensure that our 23,000 employees across India, across 28
How
hospitals.
many employees are you?
23,000.
23,000.
That's right.
And
So
you're about 27 hospitals standing
28
here.
now.
28 hospitals now. Where's the newest one?
They were in Greater Noida.
Greater
which opened
Noida.
2 months back. And also we have just signed a deal with Meteor Hospital, which is in Manesar, which is going to be 350-bedded hospital, which is going to come up in the next 1 year.
So your marketing campaigns, your public relations campaigns are going to be like chock-a-block, I think.
Basically, it's very dynamic. That's what I'm saying. Too many specialities and so many platforms are there. As of now, forget about the media. The social media is huge.
Is huge.
And across all platforms, we don't know which is the right platform for what.
That's also
So
true.
we have to just make sure that we cater to the audience. So it helps and it matters. So that is also important. We have to manage each and every way. And ORM also plays a very, very big role in the healthcare sector.
Do you want to tell me a story about one troubleshooting day during COVID?
COVID has changed the life for everyone. I think almost everyone we speak to must have lost their loved ones in the last COVID wave, which came in April last year. So everybody was requiring a bed, or maybe an oxygen cylinder, maybe some remdesivir, vaccines were required. Every day, 60 to 70 calls.
Oof.
But what was depressing, like morning I used to get a call at 7, 6, I said, Ajey, please help me out. This is my father, or maybe my uncle, or my brother, or my sister. And evening they say, Ajey, thank you very much, he passed away.
Oof.
So that was something like I used to feel scared of just taking the call and what's going to happen. I used to get the messages. I couldn't help my loved ones. Rajan Mishra, I call him Rajan Bhaiya. So he was COVID positive, and I couldn't get him a bed at the hospital because it was not possible to get him a bed. So and he passed away after 15 days. We lost him at 69 or something. He was a young man. I mean, like at 69, he was doing perfectly fine. But COVID, we lost him to COVID. So I felt so helpless. But I couldn't help it because that's the way the situation was. Whole infrastructure, the medical was overwhelmed. And you can cater to 1 or 2% of the population. That's the way the medical system is designed. But whatever was possible, whatever best could be done was done. But we lost too many loved ones.
Of course.
That's going to be there.
I would assume there would be a fair amount of anxiousness to be able to help as many. Also, a large amount of guilt when you were not able to help, and that's a big feat to overcome when you're in the thick
it was
of
very
things.
depressing. I mean, the people is saying, I wish you could have got me a bed, you would have survived. But positive side of that was more than 70,000 people were treated and were discharged from the hospital.
70,000
70,000
people.
people were discharged.
Fabulous.
And they were taken care of, they were discharged and they were treated well.
Is there an MIS count of how many people
Yes,
are treated in Fortis
definitely.
per day?
Annually, so 25 lakh people we treat annually across our all
25 lakh people annually. And during COVID, it was...
During COVID, like there was a waiting for 300 to 400 people because the requirement was such. Ventilators were required, oxygen was required, ICU was required, which was very limited. In hospital infrastructure also, you have limited ICU beds. There were other people also who were admitted. It's not that if COVID is happening, the other one person won't have any heart attack or something like that. So other people were also being treated. Doctors, nurses, they were like working 24/7. They were wearing diapers because they couldn't take out their PP suit. So just imagine the kind of thing what people have gone through. They haven't gone home for months.
And the risk involved, I mean, you're
risk involved
literally
for
putting
sure.
yourself... I'm trying to imagine the risk that the staff took when they themselves weren't very sure about
What's out?
is it very hectic? Is it not? But they just went and did it, took care of the infected person or the patient. I have to ask you, what was the preparation look like at the back? I mean, you dealing with a surge of patients, a surge of fatalities. You still have to keep your cool and run your communications clear. What did those days look like from a communication viewpoint?
It was work from home and people are working from home, but I remember the days started at 9 used to end at 10:30, 11 at night.
You were working more when you
You're
work from
working
home,
more.
yes, because you're coordinating. Yeah.
And also, it was important for people to be aware because nobody is aware what this problem, what this disease is all about, what is the corona all about, what is COVID, what are the symptoms.
That
So
information.
the information was required and people wanted to have that information more and more and more and more. And in fact, all the journalists covering each and every beat were covering health that time. They wanted to feed the information, and so people had to be aware what the precautions have to be taken, what kind of medication is required, what can be done, because somebody getting COVID and they just want to rush to the hospital to get admitted. That was not the case. The people had to realize that after a particular time, if the oxygen saturation went down, and they should be getting admitted instead of somebody has just got COVID and said, "Oh, I have got COVID, I have to rush to the hospital." But that's the kind of fear it was.
We were all shit scared.
Everybody was. I'll tell you something. During the peak, being in healthcare, being Fortis said, if somebody gets infected, we're not too sure that we'll be able to provide you a bed. For the hospital
That
staff
realization,
itself,
yes.
that please we take all necessary precautions. And the doctors, nurses, hats off to them, the kind of service they have done to the nation.
Everybody globally has a renewed respect for healthcare. It's like the basement of a building. Nobody really sees it every day, but it's standing because there's a very strong basement, especially in health. During those days, when you're dealing with all of this, let's say you have to reject a few patients or tell them to stay home, did a lot of people start taking responsibility for their health? Because I think it took a little while for everybody to own up, wear their mask or whatever it is they had to. Was that tough? Because you have to first learn it, filter it, veto it, and then release it.
No, what
There's a lot of
happened, being
responsibility.
in a big hospital group, so we are very organized, SOPs, everything was clear. So we have a medical service, operation group is there, MSOG group is there. So we had all our parameters, all our do's and don'ts, precautions, everything in place. So what we had to do is make sure that we are able to spread it across to the organization and also to the people outside. So we made sure that the areas are bifurcated. So we have a dedicated area which was for the COVID, and the other one for the people. Other people also needed care. I mean, hospital was not that it's going to be COVID stuff only. We had to make sure that people who are suffering from other ailments, other problems, their dialysis is there for somebody who's getting a regular dialysis or chemotherapy, what they're going to do about it. They had to get the treatment.
Yes.
How can you say we can't give you dialysis because of COVID? So that's, I think it has to be managed, it had to be managed in a very professional way.
So, a big part of public relations, no matter which industry you're in, is crisis management. I would assume it takes a certain DNA type of a person to manage crisis without falling apart, I think, or losing one's cool. Comment on your personal journey.
So it depends on from industry what you are in. So crises are going to be there when you're public dealing or dealing with the public. So just talk about, like, I was in power before this, so crisis was very different over there. So electrocutions were there sometimes. If somebody got electrocuted, it's a one-off case. Maybe the power was not there, issues related to like people not getting 24/7 power supply, and different things for that. So that was a very different kind of a thing. But being in healthcare, it's not a product which can be replaced. It's a human life. In human body, it happens for sure. You have like different surgeries which are performed to make you work better, maybe treat your ailment. But if you lose a human life, that's the biggest kind of a crisis what we face. And what happens when people are spending money, they expect the outcome to be perfect.
Correct.
And they say, we have spent so much of money, so the doctors are cheated, the money, the hospitals, the money-making racket, and they only want to make money, but the outcome is not positive. It's not possible. Otherwise, everybody would have lived. Who are billionaires people in the world, nobody will die. People have to realize that no doctor will ever want this medical outcome or something to be bad or the patient to die.
Coming from, I've been a patient quite many times, and when you're suffering, doctor is God. End of the day, you're just like holding on to dear life for him to tell you, no, we can manage it, oh, we cannot manage it. There must be a methodology to intervene, communications. Not
Yeah,
enough.
expectations, managing expectations
There
is one
must
of the
be.
most important one for being in the corp. That's why I told you, people have to realize that always the outcome cannot be positive. Doctors they are magicians for
They're
sure.
actually
They actually
magicians,
do
yeah.
magic, and I've seen a lot of miracles happening in this world. When people say nothing is possible, doctor treats the patient and it goes back fit and fine. So that's our job, to make sure the media understand, because they're going to be, it's like always the public sentiment is always which is going to be looked at. But to make sure the other side of the story, which journalist has to also understand what are the finer points of what kind of treatment was offered, why it was offered, what kind of ailment was he was ailing. It was in a bad state. That's why he came to the hospital for the person that individual.
There's always context to every
everything.
news.
So that plays very critical to put our part of the story to explain it to them. Most of the time, the story dies down and people make sure that they understand the problem. So journalists are also learned, but Google has also played a very big role in for people to understand about the ailment. So a lot of people keep on searching on Google and they keep on connecting with the doctor. But people have to understand that it's a different kind of a ball game for each and every person. It's individual. There's a different kind of ailment or maybe a different kind of a body set which is there they have to look at. So it becomes problematic, and now the social media impact. It's pretty easy for people to just pick up an issue, tag the government, tag the minister, tag the hospital, and to write any damn shit they want to talk about.
I would assume you as a communication expert in that ecosystem would play a very vital role in relaying both management expectations and kind of sensitizing the people towards doctors and the setup, the asset per se as well.
Yeah.
How does it work when it comes to hospitals? I remember doing for a few brands, and we're trying to sell it. You can claim a lot when it's a ready product. I don't think you can claim a lot when it's human lives. You have to be really, really careful. Tell me a little bit about it. And what would you actually say to the people who are hopefuls to join the healthcare industry and in PR communication? What would be the few, let's say, words of wisdom you would tell them? And do you have a lot of hopefuls coming in from the industry who say you just want to join the healthcare sector?
Basically, people are looking at the healthcare sector as one of the fastest growing sector in the world. In fact, in India also. Like people are very conscious now. If you actually see so many wellness companies or maybe so many these pathological labs and different kind of things are coming up. So they want to get their test done. They want to see what was the lipid profile or maybe the cardiac or anything, because so many cases have happened. So that's just one of the fastest growing sector in India. And also the government has a focus on it, and it's a sector which needs to develop for sure, because it's not sufficient. Looking at the population, what India has, and the kind of infrastructure we are hardly any infrastructure there to cater to the population of India. So I think the Ajey Maharaj scheme and a lot of initiatives government has taken that are very, very important from that perspective.
Let's say you talk about Ayushman Bharat. What has changed? Give me like a very, very micro case study, for example.
Like in the tier 2, tier 3 cities, people are not able to come because they have got an insurance cover now. It's been covered by the government, so government will provide them an insurance policy. At least they are able to visit the hospital and get the treatment. Earlier this was not possible.
We weren't even aware that such help is reaching them.
Yes.
We just thought it just kind of sort of took care of itself. Now, has holistic wellness become a part of your brand? Are you absorbing it? You're trying to work on it? Are you trying to grow in it? What is the story?
Basically, like treatment for people, we love to treat people. I mean, that's what is the basic aim of a healthcare company to look at. Because the kind of investment which goes into the structure, the kind of infrastructure, the kind of investment which goes into the medical equipment, technology, hospital staff, cleanliness. There's a whole lot of things are involved. And if you have the right kind of a model which caters to both sides of it, then definitely holistic treatment is a very basic thing which people will love to do that. But there's a gap right now regarding the whatever the prescribed rates are there. It has to, because people compare it with AIIMS or other government hospitals. But if you actually see, that's been run by the government, and they also they're also spending the same amount of money, but people are getting the treatment for free there.
Moving on to lighter stuff, what's that big baby in Fortis Gurgaon that I keep seeing? I want to know, what is it? It's a huge white baby.
Yeah, it was from
every time I go there, I try to look at, भाई इसके बारे में कोई कुछ बता दो, वो क्या है क्या?
It's a big story behind it. Like some erstwhile promoters who were there, they had this idea like, we are a baby when the hospital came into existence and all that. So it was not a baby.
Okay.
And that baby was, if you say a stethoscope, so it's basically taking care of the people, but like being grounded. So it's sitting on the ground. And during the COVID, we put a mask on the baby.
Yes, you
also.
did.
So
yes,
that
you
was
did.
also more to have the awareness. People have to be aware. So I think it plays a kind of a thing in the center of attraction for the hospital. Also, a lot of people get clicked there.
So I hear you're a basketball player as well, which is something interesting. Do you have basketball courts in Fortis? Have you put your foot down for it yet?
No, not
under the wellness, under the holistic.
But I think we don't have basketball. But I am a national level basketball player.
Oh, wow.
I represented Delhi State, and then I represented Delhi University. Then I represented Jamia Millia Islamia I was doing a post-graduation from. So I'm a university gold and a bronze medalist from university, all India university champions. And besides that, I played professionally also. So I'm representing masters also now. So we went to Italy, we went to Malaysia, and now in this
So you're like literally actively playing basketball
actively
in
playing
championships.
basketball. In championships,
Wow.
and all, I mean, trying to age gracefully and trying to be as fit as possible.
I would assume that would be a part of your stress relief program.
Yeah, that's the best stress reliever. I'm pretty regular with my.
You could have gotten
workout.
something paid for by Fortis, but you're
But
doing
I
it
tell
by
you
your own
something,
self.
like this sport, somebody has to get into it, and
Yes.
this is something which is I think one of the best stress buster anybody can have.
And you come from musically ripe family, very rich on the heritage. Can you please tell my audience a bit about it? Because it's amazing to meet a Copcom man in healthcare, Fortis at that, who plays basketball and comes from a family of musicians.
Yes, I think I'm the only black sheep in the family who's not in the music, but I do understand music.
Do you
for
relate
sure.
to that white baby over there now?
I
And
think-
he's the white sheep of Fortis.
The white sheep for this, but I mean, I understand music. I come from a musical family. My father was Padma Bhushan awardee. His name was Pandit Ajey Maharaj. He used to play tabla.
Oh wow!
So he's one of the very, very senior artists. He passed away. So long, it's around 2004. My grandmother was also Padma Shri awardee. She was Srimati Siddheshwari Devi. She was a classical vocalist. My mother was also a classical vocalist. Her name was Savita Devi. She's also a national awardee. So mother also passed away 3 years back. So the music is in my blood.
Don't be sad now. You also got so many awards, yeah? I mean, I think it's a long list, and I think read off a few.
So from the musical,
He's sad about
I'm not
it.
that bad. I've been a good sportsman. I have decent achievement in the PR and the Copcom field also. I've been
Are you
awarded.
doing something about the music in Fortis? Can you please?
Yeah, we're trying to introduce music at our lobby, and we have musical therapy sessions also.
Oh, really
This was
now?
something very nice. So we had it at some of
Musical
our
therapy or
hospitals.
sound therapy?
It's musical therapy in a way, because like we had music which was playing to the ICU, maybe some people who were performing and they used to go, and some patients who were that one used to
Oh wow,
do some
really?
music. So it really helped.
Can you please tell my audience which floor that is on? Is there a
No,
place where you can
it
go
was
or
case
in
together. It
general?
was being done right now. Also, last week there was a flash mob kind of a dance performance which was done by
In
the,
Fortis?
yeah, we did
Oh, how
that
cool!
about 10 days back. There was a flash mob.
Will you
dance
show us
performance.
videos of it? I
I
want
can
my.
share the videos with you for sure. Being a sportsman, being into music, being into sports, and मैं बचपन से music सुना है. When my mother used to perform, she used to ask me, Ajay, how was my performance today? Because I was the best PT, I used to tell her this was right, this was perfect, this was not right. So I knew everything, like कहाँ पे क्या है, whatever the ball बना हुआ है या कहाँ सुर छूटा है या ताल कैसा था ये था, because it's here. I've heard it. So if somebody, maybe people say that a big artist, Bollywood especially, a lot of Besura guys are there who are singing. People are very happy about it.
I have an idea for Fortis. Please take it. They should have an after party for whoever is discharged. You know, some
People
deep
like
house
to rush
thrown in
away.
there.
People love to rush away.
You
from
should
the
really
hospital.
just
As soon
make
as they
a
get
plot
it-
next, make it soundproof.
No,
An
no.
after party for whoever got discharged like last week, you know,
No,
something
no,
like
that is
that.
fine. But people just want to rush away from the hospital after they get discharged. I've seen them. They're so eager to go back home.
I don't know. And I was in Fortis, I was just chilling. Everybody was fussing around
Yeah,
me. I was a
different.
happy girl those days.
I think
No
I won't say
complaints.
welcome to Fortis again, but still.
Yes. My team have some questionable questions, right?
Perfect, please.
And the first one is, have you considered offering buy one get one free deal on surgeries?
Maybe I think buy one get one is something which I don't know if people are requiring 2 surgeries or
Elective.
something. Then it's fine. Maybe you can give them an offer if you get this done, or maybe it comes as a complimentary package. But nothing as of now, so it's not.
And frequent flyers for the regular visitors program, do you have any?
Well, it's not a frequent flyer one, but it's like patients are handled with care and people who are
Extra
dedicated
care,
to
'cause
it.
you've
So
been
we
here.
take care of them because they are partnering, or they are our partners, and we are taking care of them.
I think I'm shit scared of nurses because they tend to be so stern about things.
No, what
which is
happens?
obviously, it's a very responsible one. And why do they wake you up all the time in the morning? Why can't they start the stuff a little later in the night or afternoon? All the injections are early in the morning.
I mean, like, you're talking from a different perspective, but when it comes from the medical perspective, there are some protocols and something which have to be followed. So it's not that everything is happy there,
No, no, it
and
isn't.
nor you are there for some happy hours or whatever you
No,
can say.
no,
Right?
we're not.
So it's something which they have to follow their protocols, or maybe that kind of stuff which has to be done early morning. They're going to wake up at 5 and inject you, Maybe they're going to check your
Yes,
BP.
just
GP.
exactly
So,
when you're trying to sleep.
so
They will come and poke you.
They just
I know they're doing the job.
So they
And
have
you're
to
like,
do
oh
the
my
job,
God.
and I mean, they can't be happy with all the time. They're not an air hostess.
Yes, oh, that's
And
true.
when they are taking care of patients, you can imagine, like, they're taking care of lives.
You were telling me about your a new one coming up before we end this talk. I wanted to know you're coming up with another Fortis somewhere in Delhi NCR. Another
Yeah,
one
in
somewhere?
Manesar, we have taken up a new property.
In Manesar?
In Manesar, new hospital, what we have acquired, which is a Meteor Group. Meteor Hospital is there, which is going to be a 350-bedded hospital, because the kind of influx of patient which is coming, and we have a hospital in Gurgaon, which is near the Huda. So that
The
is
Fortis Memorial.
250-bedded what we have. So we have a expansion plan, a brownfield. So we are expanding and we are increasing the bed capacity there also. In India is a preferred market for the medical value travel also. So a lot of international patients from across this Middle East.
It comes under medical tourism. Am I correct?
Medical value travel.
Medical value travel. Because we bring a lot more value as a country.
Yes, because
competitive value
India,
too.
if you actually see, it's almost 1/3 to 1/5 cost what you get to pay in
Wow.
any other part of the world. If you compare to Europe or the Southeast Asia also, it's almost it's extremely cheap, and the quality of outcomes in India, one of the best clinicians are there. Medical outcomes are also fantastic. The infrastructure is good. The language proficiency. I mean, like, people can talk in English in other parts, which is not possible in other parts of the country. If you go there, there's going to be a problem for interaction. So everything is taken care of. The stay, it's very cheap. It turns out to be very cheap for them, and also the outcomes are fantastic. The technology is at par with any global kind of infrastructure in US or any other part of the world.
So I think next we're going to be seeing you at the opening of the next Fortis. I'm going to get all my team there.
For sure.
Welcome. Thank you
So
for
look
coming to our
forward.
studio. Thank you so much. That was wonderful.
Wonderful.
Hope to see you soon here.
Yes, look forward.
Thank you.